Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, Massenomics listeners, to episode 212 of the Massenomics podcast. We are the lifting podcast about nothing. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
And 212, we've actually got a Q&A session. We did a live Instagram Ask Us Anything on our story, and we're going to go through those today. So pretty exciting stuff. We got some good
real hard-hitting questions. You guys do not joke around with questions.
No, they took it just as serious as we expected that they would, I would say.
Yep.
Before we get into the questions, let's hear about today's sponsor for our show. Today's show is brought to you by Texas Power Bars. In 1980, Buddy Caps was on a mission to make the best bar possible, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house, had the best knurling, and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, world, and Massenomics records have been set and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit texaspowerbars.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our great friends over at Lifting Large. Lifting Large has set a new standard for customer service within the strength world. They have live website chat support and speedy email responses. Lifting Large is the home of the ground lock deadlift slipper, and they're always in stock and ready to ship. Massenomics listeners can save 20% on all Lifting Large branded products by using discount code MASS20 at checkout. Just had a listener this week say that they were buying some ground lock deadlift slippers and used our discount code.
Yep, good idea.
Yep. Today's episode is also brought to you by Spud Inc. The goal of Spudding Straps is to make products that support sports performance and help everyone achieve their training goals. They make products that last forever, won't bust your budget, and most importantly, leave no doubt about success when everything is on the line. Make sure to check them out online at spud-inc-straps.com. And this episode is also brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. They're your one-stop shop for all things fitness and online coaching. Whether your goals are training-related, nutrition and body composition-related, or both, Hybrid has a program for you. With dedicated and experienced coaches in each strength and fitness discipline, you can rest assured that you're in the best hands possible. Please use our code MASS, that's M-A-S-S, in all caps for 5% off any training or nutrition memberships for the life of your membership. Visit them at hybridperformancemethod.com. Those are our sponsors for the show.
All right.
One other important piece of housekeeping is everyone really wants to stay abreast on the Road to 200 podcast, Apple Podcast reviews, the Road to 200.
The most important metric in the industry.
Yeah, We've
and when I say industry,
times.
I mean Instagram clothing companies.
Instagram lifting / beer clothing companies. So now, I don't know if you remember the number we were at before. It was in the 150s.
I don't even remember because it is so important.
Okay.
I have a hard time actually remembering it.
Yeah. And you don't have a sound effect on the board for like do 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 do, like really important news feed, really important news coming in.
I don't. The closest we could maybe get, actually not even closest. So that kind of works, I think.
That'll work. We are now up to 160 Apple Podcast 5-star reviews.
That's good.
Yeah. So maybe every week, regardless of if it changes, we can update on everyone because everyone knows. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The live feed. I do think we need to keep people updated on where we're at with that.
Yeah. So maybe would it be possible to get a good sound effect for that where every week where we update them on the Road to 200 Apple Podcast
absolutely
reviews.
As we speak, I am doing podcast update sound effect. Boom!
Yeah.
It's in my to-do list.
Okay, because I mean, we could talk till we're blue in the face about how important this 200 reviews is, how much it means.
Yeah, but you need the sound effect to really drive home the point of how important it is.
Right. Yeah, that's. I mean, we could just be talking about it, and that only does so much. But when we have a special sound effect for it each week, people know. Then it's like, oh, this is important.
And if they didn't think it was important, they will be conditioned to know it's important once that sound hits their ears.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me
that
too.
update every week.
It'll be here, and I mean, it could be here in as soon as 52 short weeks.
Yeah, right. Hopefully less.
Like 40.
Yeah. Okay. So we do have a lot of do we have like 20 some questions maybe that we were going to go through? Something like that?
Yeah, something about like that.
Okay.
Like we said, they are all very hard hitting. No softballs here, so it's going to require some heavy thinking, Tanner. So I hope you're
Deep thought.
I hope you're heavily caffeinated and ready to answer these.
I did have a coffee today.
Okay, good. What time do you have your coffee at?
I had it before. I actually just finished a garage gym lifting session shortly before.
The pre-workout coffee, huh?
Yeah. I had pre-workout coffee this afternoon.
I think that's one of the better ways to have coffee.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. If I'm gonna lift that day, I won't have coffee in the morning, and I'll just save it to have it before I lift.
Yeah,
I try to limit my caffeine to 1 per day maximum.
I think that's also a good habit to be in.
Yeah,
I'm usually
some days I don't have any.
Yeah, I'm usually in I would say maybe 3 cups a week, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
So about every other day.
Yep, that's probably close to me. I'm not judging people that live off of it because I just know that that's the way it works. But it's just what I try to do, and then I feel like maybe it does more for me when I do use it.
I personally think it does. I feel like when I have a cup of coffee and I don't sip on it all day, like if I actually drink it, like my brain's doing something it's not normally doing.
Yeah, right. I think that works. One really quick story that I have to tell about when I was lifting there is this actually happened. This is like something that we joke about happening. But
are you talking about like just earlier here? Like just earlier today?
Yeah, just earlier today. Just as I was benching in my garage and had a neighbor come over, next door neighbor, walk over while I was lifting and go, like, oh, you're lifting, huh? And, certainly a guy that doesn't lift, I'm sure, it's apparent that he doesn't. I've never seen him go to the gym or never seen him lift or anything. And I'm like, yep, lifting. And he goes, oh, wow, how much do you press? And I was like, he's like, how much do you put up? And I just assume he's talking about bench press. So I say, oh, you mean like how much bench press? And he's like, yeah, how much do you bench? I was like, well, the most I've ever done is 475. I probably can't do that today, but that's the best I've done. And you know what his response was? And I'll try and say it verbatim.
It's either he knows a guy that could do 500 or he could do a lot in high school.
He said, without missing a step, almost no breath in conversation, he goes, oh yeah, that's about what I used to be able to do when I was into lifting. I was like, really? You could almost bench 500 pounds when you used to be into lifting? You are a freak of nature
because you clearly didn't even know what you were doing.
like I'm like, I could have just as well said 900 pounds. Like I like at that point, I'm like, what number would it have taken for it to
be like, oh, I am impressed.
Yeah, because like in our world, a bench in between 400 and 500 isn't insane.
But it's also not something that you ever accidentally get to.
Right, exactly. Like there's very few people that just like kind of worked out and benched that much. Like it's something. It takes.
It was something you either weigh like 300 plus pounds and you've been super athletic your entire life. Or you've worked for many, many years to get there. Right. Like there's no accidental on that.
No. But it was hard for me not to laugh because I was like, it's funny, like still get myself in situations where this comes up, like it's literally like the exact joke you talk about and it still is happening.
It will never go away.
No. Good stuff.
So should we start into these these questions?
We got to get through them. We got to get through them all. So
all right. First up on the list from Mr. Plumber 34. What is the best deadlift and why is it the Jefferson Deadlift?
Well, I like the way he words the question for sure.
It was a very well worded question. I will give him that.
So it's a 2-part question where he's answering the first part in the second part. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's obvious the answer is the Jefferson Deadlift.
I think the answer is the Jefferson. I can't argue with that. And why is it the Jefferson Deadlift? Now that's a real question there.
I would answer that not by specifically saying anything about the Jefferson deadlift, but more so by speaking to all other forms of deadlift and saying how they are cheating. And if other things are cheating and this is not, like by default, it's the best form then at that point, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's the only form that's not cheating. So, when it's the only correct way of doing something, it's a pretty strong argument right there.
Yeah. And I guess for me personally, if I was going to do something besides a Jefferson deadlift, which would be really rare, I would choose to just do a conventional deadlift, I guess, at that point.
And so the thing with this is, I don't know if you consider Jefferson curls a variation of a Jefferson deadlift or their own exercise. 'Cause that is also one of my favorite little known exercises that don't get enough love out there.
But you have to be careful because a Jefferson curl is also the name of a real exercise.
Is it seriously?
You'd have to Google it. I think it's like where it's maybe like a really, really long range of motion conventional deadlift where you purposely round your back over.
Yeah, I thought there was something wrong with these people. Yeah.
Yeah. So a Jefferson curl, what you were talking about is one of our followers did a really funny one where he did curls between his legs.
Yeah,
but
I did not know that a Jefferson curl was an exercise. Okay, so yeah, there is. It's you stand on a box.
Yep.
On the edge of the box, it's like a giant it's like a giant deficit deadlift.
Yep. But you intentionally round your back.
But you intentionally round your back really hard, and you just keep going until you're basically touching the ground.
Yep.
And then you come up still rounding your back. Like it doesn't, you don't ever flatten it out. I don't know what the benefit of this is. I do like how on WikiHow, the last point in the to-do is stop if you feel any pain. Yeah. And I just assume that that's going to be part of it at some point there.
So maybe that's the second best form of deadlifting is that the Jefferson curl.
That might be a stretch. I don't know if I can give that much to the Jefferson.
Probably a little bit unknown though. That I imagine a lot of people aren't aware that Jefferson curl is that's what that is. Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, Jefferson deadlifting is still somewhat unknown. So Jefferson curling, I think, is really unknown.
Right.
Wow. Well, I learned something in this podcast today. I don't know if I was ready for that, but I did. All right. Next question. How much is your gym, I'm assuming the Massenomics gym, worth on Facebook Marketplace right now?
I didn't even see that question. Otherwise, maybe I would have done a little rough math on that. I would say we're talking the equipment inside of the gym.
I think so.
We're not going to sell the name and the rights to Massenomics gym
because that's priceless. So
yeah, and we don't own the building, so it would just have to be the
straight up equipment.
And I think stuff is kind of worth double. I think a rule of thumb is things are worth kind of double what they
is that
are
safe to say? Like if you have let's say you have a rack that's $1,000, could you sell it in a busier marketplace for $2,000 right now?
I think so. Our friend of the podcast, Jonah Leo, multiple IPF world champion bench presser, also from South Dakota here. He is a pretty avid York plate collector.
Yep.
And he's selling some right now. We were talking about it this week. He kind of wondered my opinion on what he should sell them for and everything. And I have bought a lot of those same Yorks that he has for about $1 a pound in the past, which is a good price, a fair price. They could probably worth maybe a little bit more than that, or maybe you could get some for a little less at times. He's selling them right now for $2.50 a pound and selling them like crazy.
Really?
And could maybe be selling them for $3 a pound.
Wow.
That's kind of what you would pay for like new calibrated Rogue plates.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. So, I wouldn't have. I didn't know it was like even like that on the weights. I thought it was just more on more glamorous things like fancy.
No, because even weights, I think maybe even especially what people are doing right now is they're casting their own. They're using like pieces of PVC. Like the collar of a 45-pound plate that would go around the bar. They're using that, like cutting a short, stubby piece of like 2-inch PVC, molding concrete plates around them, and making weights out of concrete plates right now because people can't get weights.
Wow, yeah, I did see some of the concrete plates online, and I didn't know if that was like a joke or an actual real thing. So that is happening.
People are doing that. There's some in Minneapolis. I check Minneapolis Craigslist. There's some people there making and selling them right now.
Wow,
for like $1 a pound.
That's insane.
Yeah. Using some of this logic to come to an answer to the question, I think probably like $70,000-$80,000, if not maybe a little more than that. If everything's really,
and that's with the pandemic markup in it, correct?
Right, that's the pandemic markup. Yeah, and that's taking most of our equipment was bought used, so I'm not doubling a new price of the equipment new. I'm not taking that times 2. I'm taking the previous used market price and kind of doubling it, and that's probably about where we would be at.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair estimate.
Yeah. But if you look specifically in Aberdeen, South Dakota, that's probably not also entirely true either.
Yeah, probably not going to get that here.
No.
Well, you can just pack up and move everything to a different city, Tanner.
Ugh, I would shudder to even think of
getting it out of the basement that it's in right now.
Yeah, right.
Something a lot of people don't realize unless you listen to this show a long time is that the gym is in a basement, which means carrying things up and down flights of stairs.
And everything got there. Everything didn't get there in one day. Everything has gotten there over the course of years at this point. And to bring it all out in one day would just be...
Yeah. There was a few big milestones, but nothing was ever done all at once.
No. Definitely not. Ugh, wouldn't be fun.
No, it would not. Next question, kind of tying into what we just discussed. Sorry, that last one was from D_Kuick. I'm probably messing that up. I don't know how you say his last name. This next question is from Lift.Smith. When will most fitness companies be able to catch up on stock?
What do you think that's like, equipment companies or like apparel companies?
Well,
like
I would say there's a couple things here. Apparel companies, it's going to be like we're kind of going through it with some of our vendors. Some are slow. Some it's not an issue at all. So if it's apparel you're worried about, I think just keep checking in. There's a good chance that if it's not here next week, it probably will be the next week. It's
slower than normal. Yeah, right. It's just slightly, maybe we're talking weeks, delays of weeks at most, probably for most people, I think.
But when it comes to equipment manufacturers, because things actually have to be built, some things do. A lot of plates, do most plates come from overseas? Is that?
I don't know where Rogues are made.
Okay. I
think that they are made overseas, actually, Rogues plates, but I probably shouldn't say that because I don't know that for sure. But I do think maybe Rogues are even, I know Titans and Reps are going to be.
Yep. I just feel like I've seen on Garage Gym reviews, like bumper plates for sure. I think he said they're all made in the same factory. They're just branded different.
That's right. That's what I kind of think that the case is too. But to answer the question, we've talked to some of these. We were just talking about that before the show. We've had conversations with some of these bigger equipment manufacturers, at least in the U.S., and they are just. It's not just a show that they're putting on. They are very swamped. Like it is.
Yeah, most
like
of them are still saying there's not really any end in sight, aren't they? Like
no. That's. I wonder if like 6 months from now, if they'll be caught up to a certain amount. It depends on so many other variables too. But I think it's going to be many months that they're playing catch up on this. I think.
I think that's a safe bet too. I don't think by the time people hear this or a week after it comes out that it's going to be like, oh, yep, everything's back in stock now. No. I think it's safe to say through May, June, July of 2020, stock is going to be either non-existent or very spotty. And it's not going to be until towards the end of the year. But then again, you're getting closer to Christmas and holiday time, and that's also a big selling time, So all of 2020 just might be tough.
Right. I think 6 months is like a positive estimate, but I also would be shocked if it's like a year, depending on how far behind they really get and stuff. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like it doesn't take a year for things to get a little bit more back to normal based on how behind they've really said that they are.
So you're saying the liquidation isn't going to start, the home gym liquidation isn't going to start until 2021 then?
That's kind of what I would think. Is it'll take a while. I think that will not be a very instant process.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. In our super educated opinions here.
Yeah, right.
Next question. How long before you guys can get back together? This one, I think I'll take this one, Tanner, because I think this probably... yeah. Just get back together, please.
That sounds like when you're talking about like an ex-girlfriend or something, like get back together.
Yeah. Are you guys ever going to get back together?
Yeah.
With this one, I think...
Oh, for anyone that doesn't know that's listening, we're not in this. If you're not watching on YouTube, I think we do a good enough job recording this that people may forget. How many episodes have we done like this now? Like 5 or something?
5 or 6, maybe 5, probably.
We're not in the same room right now. Tommy's at his house and I'm at my own.
So we're recording from separate locations. So the big one right now, my wife is pregnant and is due a month from now. And that's more the time that you kind of need to be on high alert with this. If you're
referring to the COVID-19.
Yes, we're referring to COVID-19. Especially with that, when it comes close to being due, hospitals are very on edge about how much you've been moving around and about in the world. Especially when it comes to things like this and a baby is involved. So,
and for anyone that has had a baby before, just everything when you get that close, it's just like, let alone when there's not a global pandemic.
It's like you've made it this far. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. That is the truth. Like that is how it goes.
Yeah. So she's due on June 1st. I would say for sure we will not record in person before that time. Hopefully things start to straighten out. It seems like in some parts of the country, there kind of are. Other places, they're not at all. June 1st, that's 5 weeks from now. Probably not for a couple weeks after that. So in my rough estimation, having no idea what's going to happen, I would say middle of June would be the soonest.
Right. That makes sense.
And I wish that was sooner because it makes it really tough to do we were really starting to hit up some guests on this thing. It makes it a lot harder to do once we're 3 phone calls deep to have guests and have it not be like this crazy delay of answers and responses.
Honestly, it would suck. Like, I feel like it would suck if we were doing that. I wouldn't like that if we were having guests on with us not, when you and I are in the same room together and having a guest, that's cool. That works out well. But I think it just gets lost in translation.
I think so too. There's just, you lose that delay. At least, with us, we can look at each other and we have a sense of who's going to ask a question next. And you just magnify all of that by a few seconds and things start to be unnatural in a hurry.
Which we do have some really cool guests that we've talked to that we'll be able to
if this didn't happen, we would have had a lot of really cool guests
I know
on the podcast already.
Which is unfortunate for us and the listeners really, but like, I guess in the scheme of things in the world, that's not the end of the world. And we have been able to still continue to not miss a single episode. Granted, we're doing it in a different way, but I think
which is the only thing that matters, right?
Yeah. There have been a lot of people that have showed their appreciation that have been like, "Oh, I'm glad you guys have continued to get one out every week. That's cool." They're all more people. The only thing that changes for the most part is, besides not being able to have the call-in guests, is we don't have the video on YouTube. We put this out on YouTube so people can still listen to it there, but we don't have the video. More people listen than watch our show anyways, probably 10 times more listen, or if not more than that. But there are the regular YouTube watchers, they're always asking when we're going to have video again. I don't listen to podcasts that way, so I always forget about that, as even
I do too.
People even care about that, but we've put them out in video for so long. I guess a lot of people have just become used to watching us.
Yeah, and I feel bad leaving those guys hanging. You know,
we will get back to it.
Yes, absolutely. I think the video is an important piece of it. So yeah, it will for sure be back someday.
Yeah. We've actually talked about doing some things to improve the video even once we do get back to video.
Yeah.
So maybe
we also have plans in the works to up the production quality around the video. So something to look forward to later this year sometime.
Right.
Next question, Chris number 2 Fur. Chris 2 Fur. How did you come up with the name?
That's always a good question. That's come up many times probably. And so the very start, Tommy and I lifted at the Y together, and we were friends. We weren't great friends at that point in time. We met, we started knowing
we more
each other
just were two guys that lifted at the same time than anything.
Yeah, right.
Not because we weren't friends, but because we didn't know each other.
Right. And then, I don't know how long we had lifted up there at the same time, maybe a year, I'm just guessing, or something like that. And one time I came up to you, and I think we were talking about YouTube lifting channels, and this was probably in 2014 sometime. And I said, I think I want to start a YouTube lifting channel. And you're like, oh, that would be cool. That's kind of the way I remember that conversation.
Yeah, it was actually no, you sprung it on me. You had said I started a YouTube channel. That's what it was. You had told me, and I was like, oh, okay. And you showed me. I'm like, oh, what is it? And you showed me your phone, and the way it was like cutting off the image, so all I saw was like Onomics, and I was like, kind of a weird name, but whatever, man. And then you're like, oh no, sorry, it's Massenomics, and I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, so the way that name actually, so that's that. So when Massenomics was no people, and then we grew as much as 4 of us. For people that haven't listened that long, they wouldn't even necessarily know this.
True.
It's been just you and I for a long enough time now, but it actually grew to 4 people. And when it very first started, it was me and another guy, Austin, who's not here anymore. And like what it started as was this shitty YouTube channel that I thought I was just going to like videotape myself lifting and become famous like Brandon Campbell, I guess is what Johnny Candido, I guess is probably what I was thinking at the time.
Style, a little bit of training videos.
Right. But at very first, that name didn't exist. The first video went out as I was just calling it Aberdeen Strength Training. We live in Aberdeen, and I was just calling it AST. That's what the first video was. And it didn't take me very long to realize even at that point that that's not like a very scalable name, like calling it something that, and I was just even figuring out what I even thought what I even was thinking it was going to be. But anyways, I was reading Freakonomics, the book, at the time, and then I thought it would be funny if it was something enomics, or just using that same thing, and mass was pretty much the first word that came to my head that had to do with lifting and that I thought sounded relatively cool. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know what people think when they hear that for the first time ever, maybe that's confusing, but at this point it's because, for those that follow us, it's just like, people get it at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's, it might not be a word that you hear and you instantly know what it is, but also there's so few companies now that have a name that's also not like John's Lawn Service, where there is some creativity. And also then once you find out what it is, I think most people are like, okay, yeah, that name, it's cool. And I think it works for some reason.
Yeah, it's certainly unique. I think that's an advantage, at least in some, and but that's how it came about. But Massenomics was by no means even close to what it is today when the name was created. I was thinking about that the other day, how much it pivoted from different things. That it was the YouTube channel, and then with the other guy, he was going to write blogs or write articles basically, and that's what it was going to be. Didn't take us very long of that to realize that probably wasn't going to do a whole lot.
It did have a stretch where blogging was a pretty big part of what we did. Yeah. And actually, if you still go on the website,
they're all there.
The blog is there. Do we have 100 blog posts?
I think there might be over 100.
Yeah, over 100. And that's something we haven't basically touched for a few years now. So over the course of, a year and a half, 2 years, there was a post coming out almost every week.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of them were interesting, and we all could, you wrote some, I wrote some, Tyler wrote some, Austin wrote some. We all kind of contributed to that, and some of them were pretty. And
a lot of them are still relevant. They still get a lot of traffic on Google.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of funny, some of the ones that do get traffic. The other thing about the name that I sometimes think about, and I can't remember the logic behind this at the time. I think I know what I was thinking, but the way you spell economics.
Right. Yeah.
And the way we spell Massenomics, it's M-A-S-S-E.
Yep.
And that is not how you would spell economics. With that E right there, it wouldn't be an E. It would be an O.
Yeah. And
But Massenomics would sound weird to me. I don't know why. I think at the time I just thought it sounded better with the E.
Yeah, and like occasionally we have someone that says like Massenomics or something.
Yeah,
they don't say it quite right, but it's one of those things. You know what? When you're making up the name, you can do things like it's the English language as far as it goes. If you ask 10 people, I think at least half of them would get it right, and if they don't, it doesn't really matter because once they find out, they'll get it right.
And the other thing, there was the name, and then our logo that everyone's probably familiar with. There wasn't the logo at first. You came up with that not too far after the name existed.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yep, and that was when you showed me the YouTube channel. I had made the comment of, I could make a logo for that.
Yeah, and I was like, that'd be cool.
And it was something I just kind of had. I was just kind of like thinking in my head for a week or two, and like one day it literally like hit me. I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what to do, and it's one of those, like, I'm a graphic designer for a living. I make logos.
Yeah.
A lot of them take a pretty good amount of time, but for whatever reason, the Massenomics M was something that I was able to, for the most part, get put together in like 20 minutes. I spent some time refining it and getting all the spacing and proportion all right and everything, but that's one of the quickest logos I've ever made. And I don't know why. It was just,
and when you sent me that, I was immediate, like the first thing I was like, oh yeah, that's it. It wasn't like, oh, could you kind of tweak like some stuff? I was like, oh, that is cool.
Yep. Just one of those things that worked out.
Yep. And here we are today.
Also here we are today is doing some ads, ad reads. So I'm going to read those now, Tanner. Today's show is brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid 70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell, building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with the intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe and began addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house, with the best knurling, and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, Massenomics, and world powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit texaspowerbars.com. And Tanner, they are no exception to the rule of being incredibly busy right now, correct?
Very much so. They've been shipping out some pretty huge orders from what
I thought
I've
I just saw today or yesterday they had a post saying, thanks for all the support. It's been pretty wild over here.
Yep, I think it has been nuts.
Today's show is also brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. If you've been training without a coach and have been looking for a competitive edge, remember to check out hybridperformancemethod.com. Hybrid has 15 different strength and fitness programs covering everything from powerlifting and strongman to gymnastics and general fitness, all included in one training membership. That's not all. Hybrid also offers one-on-one personalized nutrition coaching that uses lifestyle habits and a flexible approach to shape your nutrition plan around your current lifestyle, instead of turning your lifestyle upside down in order to support unsustainable habits that only work in the short run the way most programs do. If you're ready to take your training, nutrition, or both to the next level, use code MASS in all caps for 5% off membership to all programs for the life of your membership. And what better time to get your nutrition and training dialed in than in the middle of a pandemic is what I say.
The time is now.
Today's show is also brought to you by Spud Inc. and the Spud Inc. Swing Set Straps. It's kind of a lot of S's there.
They like to do that to us.
Spud Inc. Swing Set Straps. The Spud Inc. Swing Set Straps turn any regular or specialty bar into a yoke that won't take up precious space in your home gym. Designed to be even more challenging than a traditional yoke, the swinging weights will test your stabilizer muscles like never before. And with a maximum capacity of 800 pounds, you won't ever need a traditional yoke to get your strongman training in. Easily carried in a gym bag, the swing set straps can also be used for a variety of exercises and variations, acting as weight releasers on the squat, adding an extra challenge to the overhead press, or serving as chain holders for your bench press. No matter how you like to train, you'll find something new with the swing set straps. And a warning for everyone that's thinking about using these things. The first use of the swing set straps may induce a walk similar to a late Saturday stumble. So watch yourself on that.
Been there before.
Check out the Spud Inc. swing set straps online at spud-inc-straps.com. And last but not least, today's show is brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large sets the new standard for customer service within the strength world. Get email responses in hours, not days. They now have live website chat support available during the weekdays, so you can get advice from a real powerlifter with actual platform experience. The Lifting Large team wants to help you achieve new PRs in the gym and on the competition stage. When you're ready to try single ply and make your way to the dark side, give them a call. Lifting Large is home to the Ground Lock deadlift slipper, and it's always in stock and always ready to ship. Massenomics listeners can save 20% on all Lifting Large branded products by using discount code MASS20 at checkout. That's MASS20 to save 20% on all Lifting Large branded items. Place your orders at liftinglarge.com, and you can follow them on Instagram at liftinglarge.com. That's liftinglarge.com. Thank you to all of our sponsors.
Thanks, sponsors. I updated the Q&A real quick, and I found one quick hitter new one that had come in that we can do first here before I could forget.
Yeah.
Olive Garden or Chili's?
Wow. I'm going to have to say I'm a man of class, Tanner, so I go with the Olive Garden.
Yeah, we don't have either here. I've not been to either one a ton of times. I've, of course, been to both of them. I guess I would probably agree Olive Garden's better.
I think so.
I would say.
And also, Chili's, I get, the Olive Garden, it's Italian food. It's not like hard to get, but Chili's is just straight up regular American food. Like it's kind of,
there's a lot of those restaurants
kind of what's on
identical.
the menu everywhere else in the world.
Applebee's, TGI Fridays,
Ruby
Tuesdays. They're all the same, right?
More or less. They all have their own little differentiators. But that's why I got to go with Olive Garden.
Yep. I agree.
Plus, I'm really deep in The Sopranos right now, so I'm really taking in that Italian culture.
Yeah. Sicilian even.
That's right. Next question on my list here from StoopLife89. Favorite beer? And that is a question. It wasn't a statement. He's saying, what is your favorite beer?
Oh, just saying favorite beer. Hell yeah, favorite beer. Ooh, that is tough. I like, I have quite the refined palate when it comes to beers. You do,
Tanner. You are a man of culture.
Refined palate. I would, actually, my favorite, okay, I do know. I'm glad I thought. My favorite beer is, ever since I did the tour of the brewery in Boston, it's Sam 76 is my favorite beer.
That's a good one.
That I was leading into a joke by saying I have a refined palate. That is much more refined, even though Sam Adams is still the biggest microbrewery or whatever you call it. But besides that, my answer would be Coors Light and McGolden Light. Those are McGolden Light is maybe my favorite. That and Coors Light.
McGolden Light, I believe, for some of our listeners, is probably something that they're unfamiliar with or haven't heard of. I think that is a little more regional to the upper Midwest. I don't think that exists in all parts of the country.
And we don't have a shirt for it.
Probably because it is a little too regional.
Right.
For me, favorite beer, I am by no means a beer snob. I will drink almost any beer. I have no problem with light beers, dark beers, anything. This time I've said that I think we get this question probably every time we do the question thing.
I think we do too.
We're now coming into summer. I do like Sam 76. It's a great summer beer.
I want it right now, actually.
Yeah, this is the season for lighter beers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do like Sam 76. I also like Kona Big Wave. That is a nice weather beer that I enjoy. And I do like an IPA.
Yeah.
Like
names of them. Golden Light.
Like McGolden Light. Yeah, it's just like that. Names of IPAs. I couldn't really tell you a ton of names. I just go, whatever one is on that list. Yeah, I'll take that, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, right.
Next question from Fittest Fat Dad. How can I give you more of my money without my wife knowing, of course? Mass undies ?
the giving us more of your money, we're all on board with that part of it. Like that's a great idea in general. If I'd like to get everyone on board with that, really.
Yeah, actually, if you're looking for a really easy way, you can go to our website, scroll down in the shop. There is a podcast sponsor level where you can pledge to be a repeating sponsor. That's a really easy way to give us money. It's not a lot of money, but it is an easy way to give us money.
Yeah, and was going to be my suggestion as the Massenomics supporting podcast member. As far as like making sure how your wife doesn't know, I guess I don't have a great suggestion. I would just set up an entire web of lies, like where just one lie feeds into another, and like nothing really can go wrong in there when you have a marriage based on lies. And at the end of the day, just blame
the pandemic and the stimulus check because no one really knows how that part's working. So you can do that.
What I'm saying is don't limit it to one lie. Make sure it's an entire web of lies that almost can't be unraveled.
And we also our website does accept credit card, PayPal, and Apple Pay. So between those three options, there's probably one your wife doesn't look at. So
right. That's what I mean. Like get a whole separate account, maybe even a separate name, get other people involved, whatever it takes.
And then if the payment ever is caught, that is, hopefully it never gets to that point. If the payment ever is caught, you can always say, well, it was a mistake. I'm returning an order. I got double charged for something a while ago.
Yeah. Blame it on us.
You can always blame it back to us. But don't give that person any way to get in contact with us. We don't want to have to deal with that part of it.
No.
Next question. This is a pretty technical one. And it's from frustrating_strength_athlete. He says, are good lift points going to revolutionize powerlifting? And this is a topic that we could probably spend a good chunk of an episode on. But we were just talking before the show. This is something we're starting to care less and less and less about. And if you're not familiar, if you're not super up to date on things, this might be news to you. So what's being referenced here is good lift points. What are good lift points? Good lift points are the system that the IPF is going to be using going forward. So,
and the way it works is however many people are watching you lift in the crowd, and they look at each other and go, "Well, that was a good lift." You get 1 point for every person that goes, "Yeah, that was a good lift."
Yep, and it also depends on what day of the month. It depends on what day of the month it is, and there's also a coefficient that builds in the temperature on that day too. So
exactly,
it's very, very subjective. It can move around a lot, but yeah, it's supposed to be. So the IPF a couple years ago had used Wilks points historically. Wilks is known as being an imperfect system. We talked recently about how almost all the powerlifting world has now moved on to DOTS. I think 2 years ago, the IPF moved over to IPF points, which was a system that even less people cared about. Mm-hmm. And now I believe they've decided that IPF points also wasn't working, so they're moving on to good lift points. From what I see, I don't think this is really even... I think it's a lateral move, kind of.
Yeah.
If it's an improvement, it's a very, very, very minor one, and it's based off of, I believe, the person that maintains the Good Lift website. So that's where the name comes from. Mm-hmm. I think it's built with it's definitely built with a data set that is inferior to what Open Powerlifting has available. But for whatever reason, that's the one they're using now. I would not be surprised one bit to see this change again in a year or two.
I'll be honest, with their third scoring system in like 2 or 3 years, they've lost me now. I'm now checked out from whatever they're doing, and it's all meaningless to me because, like you said, I believe they're going to change it again, and like that's too much. That's changing it too frequently. To me, it's becoming meaningless.
Yeah, and it just shows that how you determine people on a lot of these other things, like it is just, okay, it can our criteria for who we consider overall winners can just completely disappear overnight, and it kind of ruins that part of the sport. Not that is the most exciting part of the sport anyways, is trying to compare across classes, but it is something that some people do care about, and this to me is just like wiping away any cares for it at all.
You can tell me what your total is and what weight class you competed in, and that's really the only thing that means anything to me at this point. The rest of it, I just I don't care anymore. Really, honestly, it's like that doesn't mean anything.
It's like cannibalized itself here.
Yeah, I agree.
Next question from R. Andrew Baker. What's the next Jefferson Deadlift?
could there ever really be a next Jefferson Deadlift? I would answer that question with a question.
That is a very valid point, that we're talking about the pinnacle of exercises here. So to have something to replace it is a pretty bold move. I don't know if there is or will be anything, because most other lifts are considered cheating. This is kind of what we covered already.
And to me, it's a timeless lift. It's has stood the test of time since 1776 until when it's still today the most recognized form of deadlifting.
Before barbell sports really even existed.
Yeah, right. So I don't think there is a next one. We were talking about the Jefferson curl earlier today, which is a deadlift variation. Maybe that, because it also has the name Jefferson in it.
That I guess could make a shot at it. We'll have to see. Only time will tell.
Yep.
Up next, we have a twofer from AG Geyer 03. The first one here is, if lift shorts could lift shorts, how much lift shorts would lift shorts lift? I gotta say it one more time. If lift shorts could lift shorts, how much lift shorts would lift shorts lift? That's a good question.
And if I really think about it, if lift shorts could lift shorts, how much lift shorts could lift shorts lift?
Well, right now the answer is 0, because we don't have any in stock.
Talking about
we can't get them in stock.
Going back to that other question about when things are going to get back. That is, lift shorts are the one thing that we have struggled with on stock because of where ours come from. But they should be back at the beginning of May here. So within the next week or two, we should have those. But as far as the question, is there an answer for that? How much lift shorts could lift shorts lift? What they always say, what I would say is how they talk about how multiply guys defend lifting multiply is they say, well, you lay that bench shirt down on the bench and see how much it's going to lift.
Yeah.
So because the bench shirt doesn't make the lifter, the lifter makes the lifter.
Right. Yeah. Bench shirts
I would say that's not
shirts
true.
Don't bench.
Right. When it comes to lift shorts, that is actually not true. If you laid a pair of lift shorts down on the bench, they would actually lift the weight. So I don't know if there is a limit to it, because the lift shorts on like multiply gear, they actually do lift the weight.
Yeah. It's something we're gonna have to keep an eye on. Now that I'm aware of it, I'm gonna pay more attention to that.
Yeah. It really hasn't been tested yet.
No, it hasn't. Not saying it can't, but it hasn't been yet.
Yeah.
And the follow-up, actually not the follow-up, but the second question from AG Geyer 03 is cheesecake a cake or a pie?
Which plays off of our conversation from episode 211 talking about the McDonald's apple pie and our discussion of what is pie. Mm-hmm. Did you have a McDonald's apple pie or not? I feel like you didn't.
I didn't actually.
Okay.
I didn't. I'm going to do that. I got to do that this week. I'm going to do that.
What do you say? Is cheesecake cake or is it pie?
A cake or
we
a
talked
pie?
about what pie is.
That's really tough, because to me, it's definitely not cake. Like,
No.
I think of cake as something that's fluffy and light and like a it's not bread based, but
Also, usually aren't the pieces rectangular of a cake?
yeah,
and
true.
not the triangles with the crust.
Actually, I shouldn't say I've never had a circular cake. Like wedding cakes,
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that tend to be circular.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with pie on this one. I don't like the answer,
I
but
think
I'm gonna
it's
say
pie.
cheesecake is a pie.
It's more of a pie than it is a cake.
I think so.
Is
I
it
think so.
more? What's more of a pie? A cheesecake or a McDonald's apple pie? Which is more of a pie? One is called cake and one is called pie. But I think
would
cheesecake
probably
is more of
say
a pie.
McDonald's apple pie is more of a pie. It's just not in the correct shape. It's in the
that's
turnover
true.
shape, not the pie shape, but it is definitely its roots are heavily based on the pie family. So
Right. They just like folded a piece of pie over itself.
that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah.
When is next one from B Amos 51? When's that Massenomics 6-pack shirt coming out? Tanner, do you know?
We have put out the sixth beer inspired t-shirt was the curl shirt. So there are 6 beer shirts soon to be 7. Actually, by the time you listen to this cat will be out of the bag on our 7th one. We haven't even talked about it, I don't think, on the show at all, but the 7th beer-inspired Massenomics shirt will be released. So really the dilemma then is, does a 7-pack make any sense?
Maybe we should just be ambitious and just wait for like
the 12
pack or the 30 rack,
Yeah, right, the 30. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. Do we change the Crispy Boy banner to include all, the Crispy Boy banner has historically been the big 5.
It's going to turn into a really long banner then.
Yes. Are we going to have to change it to the 7? Just keep adding it to the, keep.
It's just like a living banner. It's always changing and upgrading, yeah.
It would make it fun for us because people would have outdated banners and force them to buy a new $70 banner.
It's like planned obsolescence.
Right.
It's the perfect moneymaker. Yeah, that is a good question. We will keep an eye on that one.
Well, we can just even completely say what the new one is, right? Actually, wait, there's another question coming up here. There's a question coming up to address it, I think, that I've seen.
Yes,
so.
you are right. Yeah. But there is, if we don't have your attention yet, there is another shirt that will be announced on this podcast, so stay tuned. Jordan _Koki, he says, shake weight or hula chair? I like this question.
Oh, I got to go hula chair.
I was going to say the same thing. The hula chair is a
throwback
piece
to
of
fitness's
engineering.
finest.
Yep, that's a high quality piece of equipment.
Correct. Did the hula chair didn't fit under the bed though? Did it?
It doesn't fit under the bed, but
that's tough because that's like one of the number one criteria, right? Yeah. It is in itself a chair though. So if something is also a piece of furniture, does it have to fit under the bed?
I think that's the one exception for something not being able to fit under the bed is that it is furniture.
Yeah, right.
And the hula chair checks both pieces. Both checkbox that matter. Is it equipment and is it furniture? And it's both. So
several people have said that we need to bring back Fitness's Finest because of this coronavirus pandemic thing with all the additional crazy stuff people have been seeing, that we need almost like a special coronavirus Fitness's Finest.
Yeah. We better put that on the list, have our interns do some research and see what they come up with.
Yeah, we'll get the interns on it for sure.
Also from Jordan Kauki, you only get eggs prepared one way for the rest of your life. How are you going to take them?
What do you do?
Rest of my life? Like if we can, so is this, if we're saying scrambled eggs, does that mean I can say, yep, I'm going to have a protein mixed in and cheese and I can have sauce on them and all that stuff?
That's what I would say. That's to me what I say.
If that's the case, I would probably say scrambled eggs then, because you can have the most variety of stuff in them.
Yeah.
If it's just straight up only egg, I'm going to say over easy egg, because just plain scrambled eggs with nothing in them don't really do it for me. Yeah. But also when I think about it, I don't do over easy just plain with not toast or anything else either. So I'm just going to say scrambled.
Yeah, for me, scrambled is an easy choice. I have scrambled eggs literally every morning of my life for the last, I don't even know how many years. So I really like scrambled eggs. I also like over meat. I like almost every version of an egg, quite honestly. So,
pickled eggs?
No, I do not.
Really,
like pickles.
I do.
The only thing I like
eggs.
pickled is pickles.
Oh no, pickled eggs, especially when someone makes them like spicy pickled eggs.
Yeah.
Now that is a treat right there.
I do like
stuff.
Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs are good.
Deviled eggs.
Hard boiled?
I do like hard boiled eggs. Sometimes like it's a little more rubbery than I like, and like the yolk. I don't like looking at the the yolk, the part of the yolk that's right next to the egg white when it gets that color that's almost like green. I do not. That is not an appealing color to me. But I do still like them. It's an egg.
How about poached eggs?
What's a poached egg?
I was hoping you would know the answer to that, because I don't know. I gotta look at a picture here. Poached eggs. Oh. It's just... Okay, here's the definition. A poached egg is an egg that has been cooked outside the shell by poaching, as opposed to simmering or boiling liquid. I don't know, Tanner.
Yeah.
It's too... Maybe that's too sophisticated for me.
I would just go scrambled.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Bacon and Beer Bells says, have y'all done a fuck, marry, kill for squat, bench, and deadlift?
We haven't, but I guess we should right now.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it for a second here. Do you got your mind made up, Tanner?
Let me start with the easiest choice first for me. I would kill squats. I would kill the squat. That's a pretty easy choice for me. Between the other two, so the choice is fuck or marry. I would, because one of those two lifts has never steered me wrong as far as injury or anything goes. So I would marry the deadlift. And I enjoy the bench press, but I have had some issues with it in the past with shoulders. So I would fuck the bench press and definitely kill the squat. I assume your answer is going to be different than mine.
Yes, I am absolutely going to marry the squat. Me and squats have a very deep relationship where I
figured you'd say
it's
that.
It's just always good. It's always good. I will kill the deadlift because it's my most frustrating lift I have, without a doubt. I do it. I don't care for it because it just feels like I can't make progress. I'll fuck bench. That's that's something.
So we both did that. Bench really gets around then because we both did the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
We also don't say the F word a lot on the show, so that
we don't actually
gets that up quite. That gets our F bombs up quite a bit for this episode.
It does. Wow. Yeah. We do have one really long question here, also from Jordan Kauke again, and I'm going to read this quick. Actually, it's not quick. It's going to take a few minutes, but he says, got an actual serious / relevant question for the podcast, apart from the funny ones. Couldn't fit it in the story. Relevant to the recent Eddie / Hathor beef. Do you think as the sport of strongman gains popularity, the mutual respect between and for athletes will be somewhat lost, especially as outsiders who have not competed are gaining interest in the sport and now becoming critics, in quote marks there? Do you think standardizing the sport would take away from the sport's culture, or would this help clear the waters and let the numbers speak for themselves? Obviously, there will always be room for controversy, like judging calls in powerlifting. I know you touched on some of this in 211. Just curious to hear more of your guys' take on it.
So that's a long question. The one part of it, will the standardizing take away from the sport? That's what I'm taking out. Maybe I'm just paraphrasing, but do I think the over standardizing would take away from the sport? I would say yes to that, because strongman is inherently not standardized historically. To me, that does take away. It's not. I don't want it to just be a deadlift competition on calibrated plates. That's not, to me, that isn't strongman. So my answer to that part is, I don't think that's the right road. I think it has gone that direction a little bit, and I get it. I get why, but I do think that takes away from the sport as far as what I consider the sport to be.
I do too, and I don't even really compete in strongman, but it would be really lame to ever think that there could be a thing where, okay, strongman is now known as these 20 events. Yeah. There's we don't substitute. We don't come up with other events or other variations. It is these 20 events. I mean, that exists a little bit. It actually kind of does exist now, but it's not on paper saying it has to be these things.
Right.
Oddball things can come up. So to me, it just seems boring to think that it's going to say it's these 20 events. And also the deadlift variation has to be performed with one of these 4 pieces of equipment for it to count.
Right. Yeah.
The overhead has to be using a log from one of these manufacturers. Like, that sounds really, really lame. I don't think that's in the best interest for that sport.
No. I agree.
And then next question, or tying in with that, was, I shouldn't say next question, but looking back at what he wrote here is, is this going to help clear the numbers? I don't think, we did talk about it. I don't think strongman numbers need to be super clear cut.
No,
there can be. I think that's the cool thing
think
about strongman is there's different variations. If people are that concerned with one lift being the best, like, that's what powerlifting exists for.
I agree. Yeah, I think the shift needs to be people a little less concerned about these specific number records, or less worried about what counts or what doesn't count. Yeah.
Yeah. The one interesting thing that he did touch on here, though, is as the sport gets more popularity, do you think mutual respect between athletes will be somewhat lost? And I think that's saying, more, and he does touch on it, with more of like outsiders getting in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think like the mutual respect between especially high-level competitors, because you don't just accidentally become a high-level competitor. Like, that takes training and time. So I think that it will always I think there's always going to be respect for people at the high level. I can see if strongman does start to pick up in popularity, more local contests, having people just drop in. Yeah. I can see how there'd be less respect, but also those people that are like douchebags, they're not going to last very long anyways.
Yeah. And I think you have a little, like I've done many local strongman competitions, and there's always a good group of people that are like, there's a lot of camaraderie, because it's just the fact of you all training the way that you do for that sort of thing. There's just an inherent like, oh, you're like me, kind of like we know
what each other's going through here.
Right. Like, and like I've met a lot of friends doing that. But I would also say there's always some people, not always, but there's always been, I've come across a lot of people that, I don't know, I don't have that, share that with, or maybe I didn't care for them that much, or vice versa. And I think you'll always have some of that too. And I don't think,
and it's the same with powerlifting.
Yeah. It's just like powerlifting. And I don't think, with more people, there's more or less of either. There's just, I guess there's just more of both, but on a percentage wise, I think you'd kind of find the same thing. There's be people you like and people you don't either way.
Yeah. Good question though.
Yeah.
And the final question here, Body by Waffle House says PBR parody shirt ?
Answer, yes.
And boy, did you pick the right time to ask that question, because by the time this is out, the shirts, barring any type of major shipping emergency, the shirt should be live and on the website. So yes, powerlifting, the blue ribbon sport, everyone's a winner. The shirt is live on the website. Yeah. Get yourself one. It's a new design from us. And just let people know that powerlifting really is the sport where everyone wins. Everyone's going to get a medal or a ribbon.
Everyone gets a blue ribbon.
Everyone can basically make their way into the top 10 on open powerlifting. You just got to know how to dissect any competition, and you can be a winner too. So
we've made several memes and jokes about that sort of thing, and we thought that the Pabst blue ribbon tied in perfectly with that. It's a white shirt is the big thing on this.
That's a white territory for us too.
Yeah, with a blue and red logo. And we also, along with that, we have another, we're releasing 2 white shirts at the same time. With the only other white shirt we've ever had was our Massenomics is numero uno shirt, which is probably 3 or 4 years ago now that since we released that. But we're releasing,
it hasn't existed for quite a while.
No, not quite not for quite some time. But the lift shirt on white, which would be, I'm excited to see both of them. Whenever we get a new shirt, it's always just exciting to see it for the first time, even though we know what the mock-ups and everything look like. But it's exciting to actually see that shirt.
Yeah, and we have those some lighter colors going into summer. You know, when you're outside sweating it out, or when you're outside and it's 100 degrees and the sun's beating down on you, a black shirt isn't always the best idea. So.
Right. And what's the rule of thumb on white and Labor Day, before or after? Or
yeah, is it you don't wear white before Labor Day? I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Or no. Memorial Day is the one coming up, right? Labor Day's in the fall, right?
I forget that.
I think Memorial Day is first. I always get that mixed around. But yeah, I think Memorial Day is coming up soon. Okay. But we will not hold it against anyone that wants to wear their white T-shirt before Memorial Day.
Right. Just wear these 2 white T-shirts all the time, actually.
Yeah, or at the same time even.
Yeah, an important note for anyone looking at buying those, that if you already have some of our other shirts, these ones fit, I don't know, what do you say, a little bit slimmer in comparison. These are more similar fitting to our Don't Curl in Me curls, and maybe kind of like our blue bench heavy.
Yeah,
would be the other one.
Yeah,
they fit more similar to that, a little bit slimmer fitting than all of our black shirts and our lift shirt and almost everything else. They're closer to the Don't Curl in Me, and the curls like a slight. And what I say is like maybe a little more similar to some of the other big popular fitness T-shirt companies, right?
Yeah, it's on the same tee that almost every other fitness company uses. So if you have T-shirts from another company, you probably have a style of this shirt blank already.
Yep, because our shirt blank that we use for a lot of the other ones is a little bit bigger. It's still like a relatively tapered, but it's just a little bit bigger fitting, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. I would say that's all accurate.
Yep.
So that wraps up the questions, Tanner. Those were all some hard-hitting questions. Thank you to everyone that submitted one. Should we hop into some over-under here?
Let's just jump right in.
We're getting kind of long on time, so
we'll just hop in then.
I do have a quick piece of follow-up, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Regarding Monopoly. It's funny that was a topic last week because a YouTube channel that I enjoy watching called Vox had a video. I think the video was titled The Correct Way to Play Monopoly. And they had a guy he's from America. He represented America on like the World Monopoly Games or whatever. And he finished in third of all the countries. Some basic Monopoly strategy. They said that the, the expensive ones.
Boardwalk and Park Place.
Don't play those. That is not in your best interest. It said that corner of the board, it said the warmer colors, the orange and the yellow. It said those are the ones you should be going after.
And that's kind of what I was saying last week. And I don't really care for the blues and the greens. They're too expensive to maintain, I feel like. Yeah,
and they said that most people will land in jail. And statistically with dice, with 2 dice, the most common number is a 7. And 7, one on either side of the 7 puts you in those that orange color, whatever the orange slide are. Those properties are there.
St. James Place, Tennessee Avenue, and
so statistically, those are the properties that people are most likely to land
New
on.
York.
So those are the ones you should be banking.
Yeah.
So now you have that little piece of advice for the next game you fire up there, Tanner.
Yep. That makes sense to me. Also, the thing is, Boardwalk and Park Place is a 2-property Monopoly, and also the cheapest 2 are only 2. The other ones are 3. So you're just inherently dealing with 1 less space on those 2 properties.
Yep.
For what that's worth. Did they say anything? Did he say anything about the utilities or the railroads?
They did talk about it, and I'm so unfamiliar with. Like the more they were talking about it, I'm like, wow, this is just reminding me how long it's been since I played the game. They did mention that stuff, and I honestly don't even remember what they said.
Yeah. Okay. Topic number 1 of this week's overrated, underrated. Overrated or underrated puzzles.
Puzzles. I would normally say that puzzles are overrated just because I don't have the attention span for them, and it seems like there's a lot of other better things that you could do. I do think, though, in this current era that we're in, current time, I think puzzles are a little underrated. I think they're a good tool to pass the boredom, pass the time that doesn't involve sitting in front of a TV. So I'm going to say puzzles are underrated.
Yeah, my wife has done some puzzles over this, and I've chipped in and done some too, and it's satisfying when you get a whole bunch of pieces in a relatively short amount of time. You're like, I'm pretty good at this. Like I know my way around a puzzle.
We have a 1,000-piecer that we're taking way too long to do, but
yeah. Overrated or underrated? Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. I think Tony Hawk is underrated. He has done a lot for the world of skateboarding. He's pretty universally loved. Has some incredible video games with great soundtracks.
Yes.
So you might say that's putting him up on a pedestal, but I do still believe that Tony Hawk is underrated. He's a great guy.
Overrated or underrated? Heated car seats.
Heated car seats are without a doubt underrated in our part of the world. If you live in south farther, I don't think that they probably really matter that much, but where we live, heated, especially when you have leather seats and you have those -degree days, it's like sitting on a cold rock. So yeah, heated seats are without a doubt underrated.
The 03 Buick LeSabre doesn't have heated seats for anyone.
It doesn't.
That was wondering.
Wow.
No, it doesn't actually have heated seats.
It is a luxury vehicle, so that's why I thought maybe they might have them in there, but
they are cloth and they are not heated. So,
well, at least they're cloth. That kind of warms you up a little bit.
Yep, it's really nice cloth. You can tell.
Premium cloth, probably Italian cloth.
Yeah, I would expect so.
Probably got it at the Olive Garden.
Last topic on overrated, underrated for today. Boneless wings. And are they wings? As long as we're doing this thing now where we say, are things really something? No. Overrated, underrated, are they wings?
They're just chicken nuggets. Like chicken strips, chicken nuggets, whatever your preferred. Strips is probably a more appropriate term.
Yeah.
Because I think of nuggets as the like processed stuff that's just been smashed into a shape.
Yeah, right.
But I think that they're overrated. I want bone in every time. It's a more real meat source, I feel like. Boneless wings are overrated.
Yeah. And what did you say? Are they wings?
No, they're not wings.
Okay. Which do you like better of real wings, the drummies or the which of the actual?
Yeah, the wing or the what do they call it? The wing or the?
It's a drumstick, right? Or
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the drummy more. I'm more of a drummy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually. I would be very hard pressed though to. Saying that, I don't want all drummies though. I do like the variety.
I agree with that. I like the mix. I like the drummies a little bit less probably, but I do want them to be mixed. I want to be able to go back and forth.
Yeah, I'm like out of 100-point scale, I'm like 54 in favor of drummies.
Yeah,
so
I'm the other side. Yeah, I'm on the other side. Okay, so that's overrated, underrated, and that's our show for the day. A really good Q&A session, don't you think?
It was a great Q&A session.
We got to a lot of important stuff maybe that we haven't talked about for a while. We got to relive a lot of old Massenomics history in there. Mm-hmm. And talk about a lot of interesting Massenomics future.
And new apparel.
Yeah, new apparel. Also, we got to talk about our sponsors, and we're going to get to do that one more time. Today's show was brought to you by Texas Power Bars. In 1980, Buddy Caps was on a mission to make the best bar possible, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house, had the best knurling, and it was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, world, and Massenomics records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit TexasPowerBars.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large has set a new standard for customer service within the strength world. They have live website chat support and speedy email responses. Lifting Large is home of the Ground Lock Deadlift Slipper, and they are always in stock and ready to ship. Massenomics listeners can save 20% on all Lifting Large branded products by using our discount code MASS20 at checkout. Today's show is also brought to you by Spud Inc. The goal of Spud Inc. straps is to make products that support sports performance and help everyone achieve their training goals. They make products that last forever, won't bust your budget, and most importantly, leave no doubt about success when everything is on the line. Check them out online at spud-inc-straps.com. And this episode is also brought to you by our friends at Hybrid Performance Method. They're your one-stop shop for all things fitness and online coaching. Whether your goals are training-related, nutrition and body composition-related, or both, Hybrid has a program for you. With dedicated and experienced coaches in each strength and fitness discipline, you can rest assured that you are in the best hands possible. Use our discount code MASS in all caps for 5% off any training or nutrition memberships for the life of your membership. Visit hybridperformancemethod.com. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so we can continue monitoring that road to 200. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. You can watch the episodes there. Make sure to tell your friends about the podcast so we can get more people listening. Tommy, where are you at on Instagram?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can find me at Tanner_Baird, and make sure to follow the official Massenomics Instagram page at Massenomics.
I think that's it.
There we go.